Can you tell I'm in denial?
You can't stay at the top forever.
I was also very surprised when I looked at my phone and saw Joe Girardi dismissed.
Well, I think mine were with common sense.
I think now belongs in the all-time greats top 10.
Boston, I really think only got to this point because of a guy named Chris Middleton being out for the Bucks.
That power play just was unbearable. It was humming.
Man, am I happy. I knew that this was going to happen. I knew he was going to come back.
When I think of New York Yankees now, it's Judge. Probably people in the past when Jeter was coming up.
I would be shocked. A little bit hurt.
Hey, this is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, TexasFootball.com, and Valley Sports Southwest. You are listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NFL Opinions of the Week. It is the off-season. Preseason is about to start, is on the horizon. But before we get to that, we have our lists, rankings for all the different positions. And what better to start with than the top 20 special teamers, because you have kickers, punters, and long snappers. There's too many good special teamers to just have top 10s, top 10 of all of them, Austin.
Yes, and then something we always have to mention at the beginning of these, this is our first of the year, so if you're not familiar, we totally understand. Go check our last year ones to see how accurate we were, but it's important to realize that this is a prediction, sort of. This is our top 20 for next year, not our top 20 about 2024 exclusively. It's who will be the best special teamers this year, ranked from 20 to 1. This includes kickers, punters, long snappers, special teamers, and all types of returners and other people on special teams. So, Kevin, I will let you start out with your number 20.
Well, before we get to number 20, since I like to take in what they've done the past few years and then use that as a baseline for a prediction. But this one, before I get to 20, honorable mention, Cory Broquez, the punter for the Browns. I feel, given just kind of what the Browns could be this year, of just not being a good team, and they have so many quarterbacks, who do they choose? He's going to get a lot of action, so I feel he's going to have a lot of punts. So that's my honorable mention. I don't know if you have any honorable mentions.
For this one, because it was 20, I did not include any honorable mentions. If we were doing just I think kind of 20 is an honorable mention, but I wanted to put them in the top 20. So it's kind of both at the same time, if that makes any sense. But
yeah,
because I don't have any honorable mentions, I can go first with my number 20. And my number 20 is Cordell Patterson. I know he hasn't had a kick return since 2022 for a touchdown. But that's mainly because, Kevin, he's the most kick returns in NFL history. Kick return touchdowns. NFL history. He also has the active leader for the most kick return yards, and yards per kick return. Here's the thing. He only had 11 kick returns last year. And that wasn't because he wasn't their guy. It's because teams have learned not to kick to him. So while I don't think he's going to have all that many opportunities, if there's anyone that could score a kick return touchdown or anyone in NFL history that I would want back there returning a kick for my life to score a touchdown, it would be Cordell Patterson. So while he may only get 10, 11, 12, 13 kick returns this year, he could always spark one for a touchdown, and he's the best to ever do it at the kick return position, so I wanted to have him included.
Yeah, he's a great player. He is not on my list, but was a tough cut. My 20 is Younghoe Coup, the kicker for the Falcons. Last year, not a great average. He was 73.5. He attempted 34 field goals and made 25 of them. But I do think it's kind of a bounce back year for him. He still has some clutch kicks he had last year, and I believe he'll still be a top kicker in the NFL next year.
Yeah, that's a good pick. Who's your 20?
So 20s.
Oh, I read 19.
Yeah. 19 is Johnny Hecker, the punter for the Titans. And if you remember, the Titans just signed Bones Fossil, who used to be with the Cowboys, and he's a guy that's done trickery. He did the fake punt. It's almost, maybe 10 years ago with Tavon Austin where you had two guys and one fake caught the punt when he was with the Rams as a special teams coordinator. So I feel like Johnny Hekker is going to do well punting, but also be in some trick plays for Bones Fossil with the Titans special teams. So I expect him to be in the top 20.
Okay, I do not have him in my top 20. My number 19 is Miles Kilburn. He's made back-to-back Pro Bowls as a special teamer for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he is still with the team. I think that the special teams for the Steelers is extremely, extremely strong. This will not be the last person I name from the Pittsburgh Steelers special teams. And there's a couple teams on here that make a lot of appearances, and that kind of shows you who the best are at special teams. Because special teams can win you and lose you games, as has been made extremely apparent by some of the more crazy endings to games we've ever seen.
Yes, and it just gets even more hectic now, kind of given where kickoffs are and kind of how they're trying to get back. There's a lot of strategy involved. If it hits before the end zone, goes into the end zone, it's at the 20 compared to the 25. I still don't know the rules yet, but that is a good pick because the Steelers are a strong team, and when they lack offense, they make up for it in different ways. Who do you have at 18?
So at 18 is a guy that is someone that you just mentioned in your honorable mentions. It's Cory Broquez. He punted a lot last year because of how bad the offense with the Browns was, and I think that could be similar this year. But I think he's just a little bit better than maybe you had him. I think that his impact kind of helps as well with how good their defense is. I think those kind of work in tandem to kind of pin a team back, and then the defense can kind of stand tall and make sure that positioning doesn't get impacted.
Yes, yeah. I was trying to fit him in, but I just couldn't, so that's why I wanted to slate him as an honorable mention. My person at 18 is Will Lutz, the kicker for the Broncos, used to be with Sean Payton. He's low on this list just because I believe more in the kickers above, not to discredit him as a kicker, but he's fantastic. He 91.2 field goal percentage out of the 34 kicks he attempted last year.
Yeah, very good kicker. Who's next on your list?
Chase McLaughlin, the kicker for the Bucks. Last year, 30 attempted 32, only missed. He had a 93.8 field goal percentage, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, that is. And that was your
17.
17?
Yeah.
Okay, my 17, also kicker, Jake Bates, out of Arkansas. Never kicked a kick never kicked a field goal in college, which I always find amazing. He was the kickoff guy for Arkansas in 2022, and his teammate on that 2022 Arkansas team is also on this list, which I find hilarious. But he went to the USFL, or I think it was the exit. Wait, was it the USFL? I don't actually.
It was
the
USFL.
It was?
Because it was the Michigan Panthers, right?
Yeah, I think it was. So, yeah, I think it was USFL. And he was amazing for them. The Lions signed him, and he was very good for them last year. Made some very clutch kicks, won a couple games, won a game against the Vikings, won a good bit of games for them. And I think the Lions easily have one of the better special teams in the league, and I think they have the most. I think they have the most for one team on here. I'll fact check that by the time we finish this, but yeah, Jake Bates is a great kicker.
Yeah, I have him on my list, but we'll get to him in a little bit. But at 16, I have Daniel Carlson, the kicker for the Raiders. I feel like given the Raiders, I think will be in a more conservative approach. I think they'll run the ball, but I'm not sure how they'll do. So I think he'll get a lot of kicks, and he had an 85 field goal average this past year, but he attempted 40 kicks. So that's my 16.
Okay. My 16 is Marvin Mims. And while Marvin Mims will get a lot of receptions, and again, this is only as special teamers, so if they get other stats, either some of these guys are corners, some of these guys play other positions, this is only as special teamers. But Marvin Mims has been a great returner for the entirety of his career. and I think the Broncos will continue to use him. So we now have, you said Will Lutz, and now we have Marvin Mims on my list. He was a first-team All-Pro last year, and that's because he's one of the best punt returners. He's not a great kick returner, but he's a great punt returner. Led the entirety of the NFL in yards per return for punt returners. He's just a little bit lower on this list because I think punt returning is a little bit less valuable than kick returning is, but both are valuable, and I would definitely not be shocked if we saw him return a punt this year.
Yeah, he's someone I have on my list. He was an AP All-Pro first team this past year because of what he did as a returner. So, do you want to go into your 15?
Sure. My number 15, another Lions guy, Khyri Raymond. Khyri Raymond is a big piece of their returning core, and that is on special teams. Last year, he did return a punt, and he doesn't return kicks at all. Another reason why he's lower on this list, but led the entirety of the NFL, and not just punt return yards, but also punt return touchdowns with the one that he had. He's been an All-Pro second teamer twice, both with Detroit. And whenever you're going to have a guy return a punt, that's extremely, extremely valuable because you don't usually get all that many in a season. So I definitely think he can help impact the game positively for them next season.
Yeah, he's another guy on my list. But before we get to that, at 15, I have Ryan Stonehouse, the punter for the Dolphins. He averaged 50.6 yards, and he punted the ball 75 times. That's pretty impressive, and I think he'll be a key part of the Dolphins, who should have good offense, but can help their defense with pinning them deep.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
So now we can go into my 14, where I have Andrew Depala, the long snapper for the Vikings. He was the All-Pro first team. So it's hard to get into the nitty-gritty, but I wanted to have a long snapper on this list, and he's someone that I think continues to play well.
Yeah, I do have him on my list a little bit higher than you do. My number 14 is Darius Davis. Over the last two seasons, he's had combined between kick and punt returning over 800 returning yards. And he's been one of their best returning pieces for the team in special teams. As their special teams also has another member we'll get to shortly. But he's been very good for them. He was an All-Pro second-team member in 2023, and this past year is a PFF All-Conference team member. So I think he'll be a big impact. He was on my top 10 last year. He fell to 14 this year, but I still think he's a good piece for them.
Yeah, we'll have to see. The Chargers definitely got better with Harbaugh as the head coach, so I'm interested to see what happens. Now we go to 13. I have Brendon Scurry, the special teamer for the Patriots. He had 9 total tackles for special teams and was an All-Pro first team member this past season.
Yeah, I have him on my list as well. We'll get to him shortly. At 13, I have Will Lutz, though. So the second member of the Denver squad that is on my top 20 list. Kind of everything you said, very consistent, and it helps being in Denver. You get that extra distance, but also the cold can definitely affect it. And as Denver tries to become a serious playoff contender and move up in the AFC West, Will Lutz will be a part of that.
Yeah, Will Lutz is great, and you're just thinking about the great kickers already that we've mentioned. But now we go to 12, Jason Sanders, the Dolphins, which is the second Dolphins special teamer I have. He was 90.2 average, but he attempted 41 field goals. So more than all the kickers before. And so he did have a lesser average, but he attempted more kicks. So he's someone that I think gets a lot, kicks more, given just what happens with the Dolphins offense if Tua gets injured and kind of the uncertainty with Tyreek Hill.
So that was your 12?
Yes.
Okay. My number 12, another guy that was on the same team as Jake Bates in college, the actual kicker for the team, Cam Little. Cam Little was a rookie last year for the Jaguars, and an extremely good one at that. He had a field goal percentage of 93.1%, only missed one kick over 50-plus yards. He was 5 for 6. He was 8 for 9 from 40 to 49 and did not miss a kick under 40 yards. He only missed 2 kicks on the year, did not miss an extra point, and had good kickoff stats as well. He was extremely good for them, and I think he'll continue to improve and get better. This was a great first year for him, and I'm excited for how he'll continue to impact this Jaguars roster.
He's someone that I didn't have on my list, but I'm curious because it is prediction how many more kicks he does. Given he only attempted 29, but only missed 2, as you mentioned. So I'm curious, do the Jaguars give him more chances and trust him? Because he is good within short range, but do they give him some of the longer range kicks as well?
Yeah, we'll have to see. I think that they'll continue to trust him. I think it's hard to trust a rookie kicker sometimes, but I think that now the team should have confidence in his abilities, and that's why he's on my list.
All right. So now we go to 11, where you already mentioned him. I have Khyri Raymond, the punt returner for the Lions. He was an all-pro second team. He averaged 3.8 return yards. So you kind of hit on everything else, but he's someone that was close to the top 10, but just couldn't make it.
Yeah, he's a very good player. I just had him a little bit lower. My number 11 is Andrew Depala. He was in my top 10 last year, and I bet I probably would have moved him up to 10 if we were only doing 10 because I would want to have included a long snapper. He's the only long snapper on the list, and he's just consistently the best one. He doesn't miss any snaps. He makes tackles. He makes plays for the team on special teams, and Minnesota definitely loves to have him because his consistency really makes it easy for everyone around him to trust that there are going to be no issues hiking the ball, no issues snapping the ball to the punter, to the kicker. He did miss 4 games last year, which is why I don't have him in my top 10. But before that, he hasn't really had too many injury problems. And as long as he stays healthy, I see no reason why he could not be a top 10 special teamer this year.
Yeah. It's hard to notice. You only notice a long snapper when it's really bad, but yeah, he's someone that's been consistent on both of our lists. So now we enter the top 10, and who better for me to have than a kicker? Khyri Raymond, the kicker for the Texans, attempted 42, converted 36 attempts, 85.7 average. But however, the thing that stands out to me is 13 for 16 on 50-yard kicks. So he was taking a lot of attempts, kicking deep. So I think he continues to be a deep weapon for kicking with this Texans.
Yeah, he did not make my list. I have a lot of kickers on my list, so I don't feel too bad. Let me see. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I have 6 kickers out of the 20. So he's a great kicker, and we'll have to see how the Texans play this year. But my number 10 is JT Gray. He was on my top 10 last year. He's just an amazing special teams presence. He continues to make all-pro teams, second team all-pro this past year with the Saints. He's still with the Saints, and I think he'll continue to be a very effective special teamer. The Saints are going to need a lot of stuff to go this way, but I mean, they have a good special teams group, and they have one more guy that is on their special teamer list that is also on this team. So I think that's going to be their biggest asset, is how good their special team should be this year.
Yeah, you make some great points. I have a lot of kickers. I have about 10. But I feel like kicker is just a big part of it. And it's really, there are only very few special teamers that can really impact and kind of be a gadget for special team coordinators. But as we go into 9, I have a punter, AJ Cole for the Raiders, punted the ball 67 times last year, and had an average of 50.8, which is a better average than Ryan Stonehouse. And I think it's hard to see with the Raiders what they'll be, but I do think they'll be punting a lot. I do believe they'll be in a conservative offense.
Yeah, that was your 9?
Yes.
Okay, my number 9 is a returner, Keshan Nixon for the Packers. He did not have as many kick return yards as he's had some in the seasons prior. He had made 2 straight first team All-Pros, and this past year he did not make one. But I still think that his impact on the game as a kick returner is extremely, extremely notable. What he had last year was 528 kick return yards with a 29.3 kick return average, which was the highest of his career. He did not score a touchdown last year, but his ability to set up the Packers in plus position and with the new kickoff rules, I still think he'll have an opportunity to be a good kick returner. As long as he stays healthy, which he has the past 3 seasons, I definitely think that he'll be an impactful player for them.
Yeah, he is not on my list, but I remember he made some key plays that just come to mind. Now we go to number 8, where this is someone I'm sure you have because you mentioned the Chargers. Cameron Dicker, the kicker for the Chargers, part of that special unique play that happened last year, given with that fair catch and interference. So he got to kick it off the tee, but he's a kicker that's been incredible the past few years, even though I was kind of shocked he wasn't on the team. Initially, he was kind of a journeyman. He went to a few teams, and he finally settled with the Chargers. Last year, he had a 92.9 field goal percentage and attempted 42 kicks.
Okay. My number 8 is another Chargers player, Cameron Dicker. So we had Darius Davis. Now we have Cameron Dicker. Cameron Dicker was amazing for them last year. He kind of came onto the scene a couple years prior, making some kicks in some big moments for the Eagles. Made 2, and then was in that one game, and then was picked up by the Chargers once Jake Elliott came back. Ever since then, he's been dominant. He's made, on his career, 93.8% of his field goal attempts. Last year, he made 9 of 11 from 50-plus at a 92.9% field goal percentage overall. He did miss some extra points, but I don't really think that matters when he was so consistent. I mean, he missed no kicks under 40 yards outside of the extra points. He was 11 for 12 from 40 to 49 and 9 for 11, like I said, from 50-plus. I think he's one of the best kickers in the league, and I think his impact to the Chargers special teams will continue to be felt.
So you and I both have 2, and he was your 8, right?
Yes, he's my 8.
Okay. So we have him at the same spot because he was my 8 as well.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So an agreement still on the special teams. That's the first time. Now we go to 7. JT Gray for the Saints is a special teamer. You already talked about him, but I'll just mention he had 19 total tackles and was an all-pro second team selection for his special team contribution.
Yeah. We both have a special teamer at number 7. This is the guy you mentioned earlier. I think he's the best special teamer in the league, or will be this year at least. Brendon Scurry with the Patriots. I think the Patriots help breed very, very, very good special teams and especially special teamers. Obviously, Matthew Slater was there for a while, and I think Brendon Scurry could be that next best special teamer for them. I think his impact will continue to be felt on especially punts and kickoffs. But I just feel like the way the Patriots run their team, it's around the little things and doing those correctly. And Brendon Scurry was extremely good. Now, this isn't really a special team stat, but he did also have 2 sacks last year, and was pretty good in pass coverage as well. He played 50 snaps on defense, which is pretty much that's a lot for a special teamer, but still playing around 90% of special teams snaps, and was a Pro Bowler last year. I think he'll continue again to make an impact on the team as a special teamer, and we'll have to see whether or not he can do that.
Yeah. So now we'll move on. I have one more special teamer, but before we get to that, at my 6 is a guy you mentioned earlier, Jake Bates. He only attempted 29 kicks and converted 26 of them, 89.7. But he's a guy that came onto the scene last year and was a deep threat as he went 6 for 7 from attempts from 50 to 59-yard field goals. I think that he gets trusted more, and he had a big kick for the Lions. I want to say in that comeback against the Texans. So he had a game-winning kick, and he's someone that I think can really help them. And that's why I have him so high. I'm expecting a big year from him.
Yeah, we both have a Lions player here. I have their punter, Jack Fox. So that's now a returner, a punter, and a kicker all for the Lions here. And I think their special teams is league leading. I think they probably have the best special teams. And I think that comes with the coaching that they have. Jack Fox was amazing for them last year. He led all of the NFL in a couple important punting stats, including yards per punt. And what's crazy, Kevin, is he has the highest career yards per punt ever. So if you take his career yards per punt, it's the highest of any punter in NFL history. So he can really boot the ball, and that allows him to put a lot of punts in the 20. He's a very, very talented punter, and I think that he will be a big part of the Lions. Whenever they don't get a first down, even though they have a good bit of them, and he has completed some passes. He's 4 for 5 on passes in his career. He did have 1 for 17 yards last year. A passer rating of 117.5 as a punter is pretty cool.
Yeah, Jack Fox was a tough cut for me because he was one of the better punters last year. I'm interested what the Lions do with punting, but yeah, they're definitely going to be a great special teams team. As you mentioned all three. I've listened just Khyri Raymond and Jake Bates. But now we move on to number 5. This is my final special teamer, Nick Bellore for Washington. He does not have an All-Pro selection, but he had 11 solo tackles and 24 total tackles. That number really stood out to me. And there were a lot of Washington players with tackles, but he led the league in total tackles for special teams. So he's someone that I think just continues to be a better and kind of gets known as a guy that does well on special teams.
Okay. My next guy, AJ Cole. He was, I think, number 3 for me last year, or maybe number 2. I know he was really high. I still think he is the best punter in the sport. He plays for the Raiders still. He's only 29 years old. He continues to be an all-pro mention. He's made Pro Bowls previously in his career. And I think he has another great year this year. The Raiders expect to be maybe not a playoff team, but definitely a better team with Geno Smith. They still have Jacoby Myers, obviously Brock Bowers, and also Ashton Genty. We'll see how their defense compares, but I think the special team should be solid.
Yeah, he ended up being the best punter for me, and that average was pretty impressive with the 50.8. But I just put other guys above him as he was my 9. Now this is a guy you had lower, and I have higher than you. I have Marvin Mims, the returner for the Broncos, at number 4. He was an All-Pro first team and averaged 15.7 return yards.
Yeah, my number 4 is a returner as well. It's Rashid Shaheed. Shaheed only played 6 games last year. He averaged 15.9 yards per punt return, 28.5 yards per kick return, and returned a punt for a touchdown last year in only the 6 games he played. He had 700 all-purpose yards, which includes the 349 receiving yards and 29 rushing yards he had. But I think he'll continue to be a presence on the return game. And if he plays 17 games, I think he'll easily be a top 5 special teamer this year. Again, all those stats I just mentioned, the punt return touchdown, the 28.5 yards per kick return, that was in not many games that he played. New Orleans is going to need a lot of help this year if they want to be competitive. And I think their special teams will be a bright spot for their roster.
Yeah, he is not on my list, but I am interested if he does stay healthy and how that impacts him. Now we go to 3. I have another punt returner / kick returner, Kavontae Turpin. He was an All-Pro first team, only averaged 10.4 yards, but they were not really kicking to him. And I'm interested. I do think he has a bigger impact on the Cowboys because I do not feel the offense is going to do well. And I think he'll take out more chances to get the Cowboys on the scoreboard, because he did have a key play against Washington this year where he took a kickback all the way. So he is my number 3.
He's my number 3 as well for similar reasons. I think his impact on the Cowboys will be greater than it has been in the past, but that's not necessarily special team. I don't think he's going to get more returns, but I do think that he'll be more of an impact on the team. But I think that he's one of the few players that actually does scare opponents who are punting or kicking to him, and so I think that impact will definitely be felt for the Cowboys this year.
Yeah, and he's so that's the second guy you and I are in complete agreement on. I do think we're going to disagree with 1, 2. I'm curious who you have. My 2 is Chris Boswell, the kicker for the Steelers. Impressive. 44 kicks attempted, converted 41 of them. So he had an average of 93.2 and 13 for 14 on 50-yard kicks.
Kevin, we're not disagreeing. It's Chris Boswell
Ooh.
at 2 and Brendon Aubrey at 1. I'd be shocked if you didn't have the exact same thing. Chris Boswell was one of the best kickers in the league last year. I really was 50-50 on Chris Boswell and Brendon Aubrey. I know Aubrey's such a great player, but the amount of clutch kicks that Boswell makes is incredible. And the amount of kicks in general he makes. I mean, he 13 for 15 from 50 plus, 41 to 44 kicks. I mean, he kicks a lot of them. He did not miss an extra point last year. All pro first team for all the right reasons. And Brendon Aubrey at number 1, I do think he's maybe the best player on the Cowboys, which is kind of crazy to say because of he's a kicker. Now, his field goal percentage was significantly lower last year at only 85.1%, which is why I was hesitant to put him above Boswell. But again, this is a prediction. This is not based on last year. If this was based on last year, Boswell was the better kicker last year, which is why Brendon Aubrey was all-pro second team and not first team. But I think that Aubrey will get it right and return to his kicking ways. He still was 14 of 17 from 50 plus, but the 8 of 10 from 30 to 39, it's not the best. Now, I think that'll change, and I definitely expect him to be the best kicker in the league this year, but we'll see if that holds true.
Yeah, the field goal percentage for Aubrey was why I was like, we may not agree. But yeah, he is my favorite Cowboys player. You could argue he's the best Cowboys player, but that kind of goes to just kind of what that roster is at this point. But the thing that gave him the edge despite that field goal percentage being much lower than Chris Boswell, Brendon Aubrey was 2 for 4 on 60-yard kicks. And that is the highest. And if you look at that stat, I couldn't really find someone that attempted 3 60-yard kicks. That the 3 people that converted a 60-yard make were Brendon Aubrey, Tyler Bass, and Joey Sly. Tyler Bass only made 1. Joey Sly made 1 of 2. So to me, that one is pretty impressive. And I hope the Cowboys get some chances of just letting them kick. And Brendon Aubrey also attempted 47 and converted 40. So the most kicks attempted on this list. So that's
I
what
will say, though, Boswell
yeah.
still made one more kick, even though he didn't attempt as many, right? He made 41,
Yes,
and Aubrey made 47. So and also, again, missing 30 yarders, I think, is really the problem that I had. I think if he had made both of his 30 yarders that he had missed, because Boswell went 12 of 12 from kicks in the 30-yard range. And if you include 30-yard or less, he was 21 for 21. While Aubrey only kicked 4 kicks from 20 to 29. So if you combine them, he was 12 of 14 from kicks under 40 yards. And I think that's kind of the difference. Is like you can make kicks from really far away, but if you're also missing 30 yards, which I think should be automatic for most kickers in most conditions. Now, if it's really rainy, really windy, really snowy, I can see how you miss them, and not every kicker is going to make every kick from that range. But I do think that's kind of the issue that he's had in his career, because he also missed 2 kicks from the 30s the year before. So both years that he's played, he's missed 2 kicks from the 30 ranges, which sheds a little bit of doubt in my mind in a game-winning scenario. Now, from really far away, he's amazing. And I agree that long distance-wise, he was the best kicker in the league last year. But if we're just going for the best kicker, I still think it was Chris Boswell. Now, Boswell's getting up there in age. He's turned 34, while Aubrey is just 30, so there's a 4-year difference there. But I think it's going to be close between those two. Both are extremely impressive, and I wouldn't be shocked if either one of them was the best kicker in the league this year.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either. I'm hoping for Aubrey, and yeah, he does need to get closer, but I just love it when he kicks deep, and I'm really interested to see what happens. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.